Minneapolis mayor could find himself in a courtroom next year if the city doesn't deal with an understaffed police force.
As it stands, Minneapolis is 93 officers short. Thursday, a judge decided Mayor Frey has until January to hire them or stand trial.
So we're back in Minneapolis to talk about the situation where a county judge had to hand Mayor Jacob Frey a hard deadline, January 4th, to hire about 93 more cops or he could be held in contempt of court. Let that sink in. A judge had to literally order a mayor to staff his own police department to the legal minimum. Let's get into it.
Hennepin County judge is giving Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey a hard deadline of January 4th to hire about 100 officers mandated by the state as part of police reforms, or he could be found in contempt. Tonight,
they've had a couple years to do this. They haven't made much progress.
Kevin, I spoke with a retired Minneapolis police officer and former sheriff who says it's not impossible to find that many new officers in that short an amount of time, but it's going to require a major cultural shift, both among city leaders and within the police department.
A judge had to step in on this one. Not a mayor proactively protecting his city, a judge. This number, 731 officers, isn't just some wish list. It's mandated. It's in the city charter, backed by the state Supreme Court at 1.7 officers per 1,000 residents. This is the floor. This is the bare minimum. It's not the ceiling here. And Frey has been sitting at 638 officers. He is 93 bodies short of the bare legal minimum. So this is the part that really gets me. 4 Minneapolis neighbors had to sue to make this happen. Regular residents, they had to go to court because their elected mayor wouldn't do the one job that is hard to argue against: keep enough cops on the street to meet the law. Crime is a real concern up there, and people complain about it constantly, and the response from City Hall is to make the residents lawyer up to force compliance. That's not real leadership. That's a mayor who had to be dragged to the floor of basic competence with a court order hanging over his head. Now, real quick before we get back into it, speaking about people getting forced into bad situations, let's talk about Medicare, because open enrollment trips up a lot of people. If you are 65 or already on Medicare and you're not sure if you have the right plan, that's where a chapter comes in. Their advisors search every plan available in your area to find the one that actually fits you, not whatever some salesman is pushing. And it's completely free to you. Call Chapter at 570-906-8018. That's 570-906-8018. Or check out the link in the description box below. Let them do all the digging so you don't get stuck overpaying. All right, let's get back into it. Now, let me give you guys a wider picture of what's going on in Minneapolis, because obviously this situation is not happening in a vacuum. Minneapolis have been bleeding offices since 2020. After George Floyd, the department got hit with a court-ordered reform process, a consent decree, leadership changes, the whole thing. The force went from 900 officers down to the 500s for street duty at one point. The legal minimum is 731. They haven't hit that since 2020. 5 police chiefs in roughly 5 years. I'm gonna say that again. 5 chiefs. That's the kind of instability at the top that probably doesn't recruit a lot of officers. It probably scares them off. And the recruitment math is brutal. The retired chief in the story points out that roughly half the recruits won't even make it to the force. So if you want to get to 93 officers, you're going to have to start with nearly twice as many. While pay concerns, work-life balance, and the cultural attitude towards cops and the constant scrutiny are probably driving a lot of those people away from the badge entirely. Meanwhile, the people who live here are absorbing the consequences when response times stretch and beats go uncovered. That's the backdrop. Let's go back to Mayor Jacob Frey.
The city says they have about 638 sworn officers at the moment. 731 is the legal limit, so they have about 6 months to get 93 new officers sworn in.
In Minneapolis, we're going to make sure that that pay is competitive.
Mayor Jacob Frey's effort to improve police staffing meant starting salaries of $90,000 in 2024. That years-long effort to bolster the ranks.
Competitive pay. Okay, 90 grand starting salary back in 2020, and the force is still created. So either the money isn't the whole problem, or the environment that this mayor has built is so unstable that $90,000 can't fix it. Probably both. You can dangle a good salary all day, but if a recruit looks at Minneapolis and sees 5 chiefs in 5 years, a department under a court-ordered reform microscope, and a mayor who had to get sued to staff the place up, that's a hard sell. Money doesn't fix culture. And notice the move here. This is classic Mayor Frey. When the cameras are on, it's we're making the pay competitive. It's we've increased applications 200%. It's the language that sounds like action, but it's really performative. Say whatever keeps you electable. Point at the inputs, never the output, because the output is the only number that really matters in this courtroom. Are you at 731 or not? You're not. Right now, you're at 638. And the judge isn't grading your effort or your press releases. He's grading the head count, and the head count says that you fell short for years until someone had to make you answer for this.
They need to light a fire under their elected officials. The elected officials have not acted fast enough or swift enough to fill this gap of recruitment and retention.
But when we asked city council members about that, they said they've done their part.
The Minneapolis City Council has met its budgetary authority in funding the charter required number of officers. There's nothing that obligates us to go further than that.
This is a tell right here. Listen to this. The city council is basically saying that, well, we funded the seats. It's not our problem that they're empty. And technically, they got a point about the funding. The money has been allocated for the 731 offices. But here's the problem. Funding a position and then filling a position are two different jobs, and the filling part falls on the mayor in his office. So you got the council pointing at the mayor, then you got the mayor's office pointing at the recruitment challenges, and everybody's pointing at everybody else while the city sits 93 cops short of the legal floor. Nobody's accountable. That's the whole game. When it works, everyone takes credit. When it fails, it's a circle of finger pointing and, well, we did our part. Meanwhile, the people who had to sue the residents are the ones living with the consequences. They're only the ones in the story that's treating this situation like an emergency. The retired chief said it plainly. Elected officials haven't acted fast or swift enough. They need a fire lit under them. And it took a judge with a contempt threat to be that fire. That's where we are.
A Hennepin County judge says it needs to ramp up those recruitment efforts and hire enough people to have at least 731 officers by January 4th in order to meet the state Supreme Court's mandated level of 1.7 officers per 1,000 residents.
All options to try to meet the legal minimum of 731 officers. The city hasn't had that many since 2020. Given that your team is saying that the city isn't doing everything in its power to hire more police officers, is it incumbent on you to come to court next year with solutions?
It's actually incumbent on the mayor to do his job.
And here's a really big detail worth knowing. Jacob Frey isn't even working with the permanent chief right now. His last chief, Brian O'Hara, resigned back in May. And we talked about this before a couple of months ago when he was trying to interfere with investigations, deleting contacts off his phone. So right now he has an interim chief by the name of Bill Peterson while he searches for number 6. 6 chiefs. So this man is trying to recruit 93 officers in 6 months to a department with a revolving door at the top under a court order with a contempt threat ticking. That's the hole that he dug. So this is the pattern we keep documenting on this channel: incompetent performative leadership. Mayors who manage the optics instead of the outcome, who say the right words on camera, but then have to be court ordered to do the most basic jobs. Minneapolis residents deserve better than a mayor who treats public safety like a press release. The check-in is in August. We'll be checking out, see what's going to happen. Let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.